To John's World of Influence. In 1997, Carolyn, my wife, Louise, my daughter, and I moved into the house beside John's. It did not take very long before I was introduced to John's kitchen table and sun porch table. Those tables were a center of lifelong learning, of brainstorming, and of community engagement. John loved to be a civic watchdog. He loved public meetings. He loved heritage buildings. He loved a real sense of community. And John loved following the rules of good planning. Now, everyone else, a lot of other people in the city didn't really had that much enthusiasm for all the above. But John had lots of support in the city. Unfortunately, myself, I know way too much about a plan of subdivision, and the zoning bylaws did too. So I want to share a memory about the train station. And so I moved in 1997. By 1998, John had convinced me to work on a business plan for the train station. John worked diligently at a refurbishment plan, complete with architectural drawings and a budget for the train station. And so we put together a train station. So we did the hard work and the professional work, submitted it to the right authorities. And it still wasn't enough. Some people considered it an eyesore. It was the inconvenient train station, and we were watching it be demolished by neglect. So in 2002, there was an event that came along, and around the kitchen table, John and I hatched the idea that for the Queen's visit, we should write a letter to Buckingham Palace. And since the Queen was passing through on her Silver Jubilee, or her 50th anniversary Jubilee, through Fredericton, why not stop at the train station? And so off went the letter, and in the meantime, to prepare for her visit, we divided up the labor. John made a large sign with the word Fredericton on it, which was going to replace the one that was missing from the front of the train station. And John also had in his possession a black and white photograph from 1951 showing Princess Elizabeth and Prince Philip receiving an honor guard, military, with all the dignitaries in front of the train station in all of its glory. And so we put the two ideas together, and we hatched the idea that, you know what, we're going to get 2 pieces of plywood, we're going to paint the Union Jack on them, and we're going to put them symbolically over the gaping holes on the roof. And we did get a reply from Buckingham Palace. Unfortunately, schedule could not allow the Queen to visit the train station. So we went ahead, we set out a press release, and the day of her visit, there's John on a fairly tall ladder, receiving a large sheet of plywood from me, and he hoisted it over his head, no fear of heights, onto the rooftop right above us here. And it's a pretty large, brightly colored Union Jack. You could see that all the way down York Street, and it was beautiful. And that day, the next day, one of many papers, articles in the paper with the original 1951 black and white photograph and with the present state of the train station. There's John and I putting up the sign. And I think it really speaks to the message that John was about, and just to get engaged and don't take no for an answer, and just, just care about your community. And John will always live on in my heart and in the community. Every time I walk by this train station, the hard shoe factory across the street, the downzoning we have of 20 residential blocks in this community, the Crosstown Trail that runs parallel to this station. That was a huge battle. And the community notice board on Northumberland Street, they all carry a piece of John. And John, you will be with me always. Thank you.
Yeah.
Perfect segue.
Councilor Kelly, I hope you're taking notes.
In addition to the flag, for some reason, John was able to rope a bunch of us and get a whole pile of paint. The windows were there, but they were blocked by plywood. And for some reason, he was able to encourage us to all come along and paint the plywood as if it was windows. So all around the front and the side were what, instead of plywood, it looked like there were windows. And I thought, only John Oliver could have pulled that together. The architect.